This is SO5Z, and today I want to show you the Illusion of Gaia Randomizer, the newest edition of our randomizer, which is called the Fluteless mode. I've also brought with me the randomizer only bonus boss, and we have a lot of things to talk about, but I suggest we just start jump right in game. Are you ready for this? Okay, then in 3, 2, 1, go. Whoops. My bad. Yeah, Fluteless Brave. So, major thing that's changed. Normally, Will has a flute to attack enemies, to do jump attacks, or to block. As you can see, I don't have a flute. I won't be getting the flute throughout the game. Because I still have to push switches and still have to kill certain enemies to open some passages, I will get the Psycho Dash ability as a substitute. Psycho Dash has a big drawback though, I need to charge it up. So whenever I need to hit a switch or something, I need to charge up and then release. So this is going to be to impact my movement through dungeons a lot. This is going to impact how I want to kill enemies a lot. But yeah, right now we're just getting started. As you can see, I'm not starting in South Cape, which is the standard starting position. Instead, I'm in Angel Village, which is actually right in the middle of things. And yeah, this is called a safe start. I start in any random town. And now you're thinking, wait a minute, I know this game. This game just sends you forward and never lets you travel backwards. That is correct, but for the randomizer, we have transformed certain story items into travel items. So what happens, the world is divided in 5 different continents, and if I find the correct travel item, I can travel from one continent to the next. Right now I'm on the 3rd continent with Watamia, the Great Wall and Angel Village. And to travel on, I would need either the Lola letter to travel backwards to continents 1 and 2, or the will to travel forwards to continent 4. So this is those are the first items we will be looking for. First phase will be finding my travel items to gain open world, and after that we can see about finishing the seed. I'm playing on 4 statues player choice right now. This means to finish the game I need to find 4 mystic statues, aka I have to kill 4 bosses. But the game lets me choose which bosses I want to kill, and this is fine because the incentive has been met and we are actually playing the boss shuffle mode, which means I will be needing the same items and abilities to unlock the boss rooms. But once I enter the boss room, there might be a random boss inside. And right now we're in Watamia. I've picked up some hidden items. Towns always have hidden items, or items I get from NPCs. While in dungeons we will find mostly treasure chests. And I'm also checking these dark portals. These are called dark spaces and they can have abilities. I already got the Psycho Dash ability to start with, but I will need 3 other abilities at least. I will need the other 2 abilities for Will, which is the little boy you see on screen right now. I'm going to be mostly Will. And right now I have a little, it's not a glitch, it's intended. In Fluteless, in the usual game, when you do a jump attack, you get invincibility frames. In Fluteless though, if you don't have a flute, you don't have a hitbox. Which means combining the lack of a hitbox and invincibility frames, I can jump attack through enemies. And just these guys stand in my way, jump attack, and I'm through. So this is a Fluteless specific thing, and we're gonna use it a lot, especially in this dungeon, but we can also use it on other spaces too. And yeah, it's makes the game a little bit easier on certain points. But yeah, Fluteless has its drawbacks, especially when it comes to boss fights, but we're far away from boss fights, so let's just see what we're doing right now. This is the Great Wall of China. It's our 4th major dungeon. We divide our dungeons into minor dungeons that don't have bosses at the end. and major dungeons that have bosses. This is also a good location for me because it has both items and dark spaces that I can check, so there's a chance to find progress and there's a chance to find abilities while we jump over this snake. Save the animals, don't kill the snakes, don't kill this one either. Oh, 3 red jewels, this is nice. Right now I need to push this switch, and like I said, I cannot just whack it with the flute. I have to charge up my Psycho Dash and then use the switch. That arrow was not supposed to hit me, but it's fine, we're fine. And that was the second part of the room. And right now we just have one more treasure chest and some way to the next dark space. Freya upgrade, which is nice because we don't have Freya yet. Freya is the one ability from our second combat from Freedan that I want to find. And yeah, but let's see if maybe I can find it right here. Jump over the snake to be safe. And oh, that was unfortunate, but it's not that big of a deal. Here is the dark space. Let's see if there's an ability inside. There is not. This is just a transformation dark space. In the transformation dark space, I can always transform. Certain dark spaces in this logic have always the ability to transform because I needed to progress. This could have been an ability, sadly it's not, and now we're doing a thing that we will do a lot of time. To get out quickly of a dungeon, we are going to die on intention and get back teleported to the start of the dungeon. We call this a death warp, and it gets a lot of use in the speedrun, but it also gets abused heavily in the randomizer because unlike in the speedrun, in the randomizer we also have to double dip a lot of dungeons. Right now we're talking to the jeweler. You've seen I've already found a couple of red jewels. And the jeweler gives me randomized items, except for the last item, which is always my secrets. And the prices are also randomized. And right now you saw I've got the will item, which is great. This is my travel item. So we already unlocked some of our worlds and we can move on. Talk to this NPC, hand in the will, and voila, we are in continent 4. This is Euro. We're gonna check the dark space first because I want those abilities. Abilities in Fluteless are even more important than in the regular game. In the regular game you need abilities to get past certain blocks, like there's a dungeon where you need to jump up a ramp and you can only do that with spin dash, or in the Great Wall where I've just been I would have needed Dark Freya to kill an enemy in a distance. But in Fluteless it's basically my only way to kill certain enemies is with other abilities than Psycho Dash. You notice this line is moving a lot faster than it would be in the original game. In the original game you would need to stand in line for 6 minutes, up to 6 minutes. But thank you, Don't Begumi, who developed the randomizer. He is a speedrunner at heart and he sped up these things. You will also see sped up elevators. You already saw that item fanfares from treasure chests are missing. And yeah, certain other quality of life changes that made the randomizer more enjoyable. Right now we're getting a hint. Italy has Crystal Ball. This is not that helpful yet. There are 11 NPCs or like locations in the game that give me hints. I'm going to check a couple of them, not all of them. But they can give me an idea about important items like travel items. The Crystal Ball hint that I just got was for a boss item. But they can also give me hints about the location of Princess Kara. Like in the original game, Princess Kara gets trapped inside a painting, and I need to find the painting and then use the magic dust to free the princess, because we need her to fight the final boss. Do we get anything else? Just a hope statue. Okay. But this is the randomizer. She's not there. She's not in Angel Village, where the portrait is usually hidden. She is in a random location, and those random locations are minor dungeons. They don't have bosses at the end, but they can have Princess Kara. So unless I get a good hint or find the Lance letter, which tells me exactly where she is, I have to guess where Princess Kara might be, and if things turn bad, I have to do all 5 minor dungeons to... Oh, that was a perfect find right now. I have to do all 5 minor dungeons until I find her. We found another travel item, which is the large roast. The large roast is usually used for the raft scene, where you get stuck on the ocean and you need to eat the large roast to survive. But in this game, I can use it here in Native's village and yeah, give it to the starving villagers. So in this game, Hamlet won't have to be yeah, sacrificed to feed those people. So no bacon for us, sadly, in the randomizer, but we get large roast instead. So I'm gonna give this to him, and I'm gonna move on to the next continent, which is continent number 5. We're now in Dao. We're now basically at the end of the game already. So, oh, and there's my first ability. Thank you very much, game. And it's Spin Dash. I'm happy. So, Spin Dash is a very useful ability. I can deal a lot of damage to enemies. I get a lot of invincibility frames while I'm using it, and I can get a little burst of speed, which will also allow me to pass over certain ramps. So it's actually the most useful ability. Euro has Rama statue. I know, I've already been in Euro. Sadly, these hints are a bit redundant sometimes. And now it's time to play the snake game. Usually you would stand in the middle and try to attack cancel and hit as many snakes as you can. In the fluteless mode, the number of snakes you have to hit is adjusted. So I only need 10 snakes in 50 seconds. I'm trying to line up my Psycho Dash so I can get double hits, but even with single hits, this is easily doable. So the snake game has been slightly changed to adjust for this game. We will see this in other... no, spin dashing is actually not good for this game, because I will most of the time just spin there and wait for the snakes to spawn. So it's actually better to just time my Psycho Dash. With Slider, you could do the you could just slider back and forth, but Spin Dash is actually, if you want a precise timed hit, a Spin Dash is actually not your choice. You actually only use Spin Dash if you want many hits in a short amount of time. We will see that on boss fights. Definitely. Okay, I found the memory melody, which is another travel item, but it's not that useful yet, because I need to get to Continent 2 to use it. We're going to dip into the pyramid real quick. The pyramid is the last dungeon in the game. It's the largest dungeon, and it's completely locked because I need the aura to sink through these blocks in the floor. And but I don't have it yet, so what we're going to do is check one item that's available. Gaia will give me an item, the nice lady that heals me and lets me save. Oh, and it's Lola's letter. Perfect. Perfect. That was my... Oh my god, I have open world, and it's not even been... I don't even know how long it's been. That was really, really fortunate. So the Lola letter is usually a story item. It's of no use to the game. It's just like, hey, this is your grandma Lola, and I hope you're well. And it's just pure fluff and doesn't change anything about the game. But in the randomizer, it's actually the most important travel item, because it gives us access to continents 1, 2, and 3. Basically what happens, we learn Morse code, and our friend Seth, who is transformed into a giant fish and knows only Morse code, will carry us from water location to water location. So from Watermere to South Cape to the Diamond Coast. And right now we're in South Cape. Now we're actually at the start of the game. We're gonna pick up a couple of hidden items in jars from the fisherman. Our grandma has an item for us. Hi, grandma. And she has the aura for us. Wow. Wow, this seed is super generous. So yeah, randomizer does random things. You can get stuck at certain points, but right now we're flying. Right now this is super good RNG. So we could go and clear all of the pyramid right now. Probably not going to do this because we're still a bit weak. We have starting stats, which means I only have 9 HP, no defense, and 1 strength. Status upgrades work a bit different in the randomizer than they do in the vanilla game. In the vanilla game, you get a status upgrade every time you clear out a room in any dungeon. But in the randomizer, we only get 3 status upgrades that are correlated to each boss. So we fight 1 boss and we get 3 status upgrades. Those are kind of random. We get 1 HP upgrade guaranteed, and the other 2 are either HP, defense, or strength. Whoops. While we did the Moon Tribe challenge with Spin Dash, which made it basically trivial. And sadly, I don't think there's much I can do here anymore, so we're gonna go into the prison for now. What was I talking about? Stat upgrades. So you only get 3 stat upgrades per boss, but like in the vanilla game, I don't have to find the 3 rooms that have these upgrades for me. I actually can just kill the boss and get the stat upgrades I skipped. This is something in the vanilla game as well, by the way. You don't have to clear every room. You just have to clear the boss at the end to get these stat upgrades. Wow, we're getting travel items. Okay, we're not going into prison. We just found a very nifty little item, the teapot. We're going back to the Moon Tribe. And we are going to use the teapot here, which makes these Moon Tribe spirits appear. And they will let me travel to Continent 2 super fast. Welcome to Sky Garden. This is the 2nd dungeon. You will see me drop down a crystal ball already, and my tracker is sadly... I don't know what happened. The emo tracker had an update, and since that upgrade, sadly, I'm having some issues. This has just been recently. I don't know what causes them, but we only have 1 crystal ball. We don't have 2 of them. Sometimes it just counts them twice when I put them into the in the slot already. I did put that crystal ball down to free up inventory space. I only have 16 slots in my inventory, so if I clock up my inventory with all kinds of items, then I am actually not able to pick up anything more. So that's why you see me use certain items out of my inventory, or put down certain items even if nothing happens right away. I'm just doing this to free my inventory space. And right now we're finding a lot of red jewels, which is expected. Red jewels are actually the most common item in the item pool. There's 50 of them in an item pool of about 120. So yeah, lots and lots of red jewels. We will not need all of them. We will need only 45 of the 50. But yeah, we're still gonna find many of them. What you saw me do there was a little ramp glitch. Basically, I did a jump attack at the bottom of the ramp, and I got all my speed from the ramp from the last pixel, and that saves about 3 seconds that I would usually need to climb up the ramp and... wow, don't kill me, sword. Climb up the ladder and then run down the ramp. So every little ramp glitch saves about 3 seconds. I'm trying to use that a lot. I can only use it as Will, obviously, because only Will has the jump attack, but we'll try to do it when I can get away with it. Right now I'm doing another Fluteless thing. In this dungeon there are 4 dark spaces, which is super nice for me because a high chance to find another ability. Sadly, one of the dark spaces is locked away and I need to hit a switch. But I can't do that as Will, so this is one of the very rare occasions where I have to exit the room in the normal way, because I just transformed into Freedom. And Death Warping always transforms me back to Will, but I need Freedom for the next room, so I have no choice but to run out on foot and then enter the next room. Freedom is a bit stronger than Will, deals more damage to enemies. Freedom will also deal more damage to bosses. So we will be using the Freedom and later Shadow for all kinds of boss kills, but in the gameplay we usually rely on Will, because Will is usually easier to handle because I can trigger iframes whenever I need them. I can use spin dash to get a burst of speed, and death warping is a lot less complicated when you just use will, because you don't have to worry about containing your transformation all the time. So we hit the switch with Fridan, who has a long sword, who can hit it across the wall. And we get the dark space, which is, yay, nice, dark space. And, oh my god, that was so good. It's a will ability. So this is my slider. It's the last one that's left. So, yeah, awesome start. The Psycho Slider is kind of a good attack to kill an enemy on the run. But it's also used to slide through narrow spaces, and we will see that happen in a couple of the later dungeons, like the Angel Village dungeon would be one of those. But we're still in Sky Garden, so we're still going to do a couple of things here. I just used item buffering to jump attack up the ramp. This basically cuts this room from a 3-minute room into a 40-second room, so it's super useful. Sadly, this is the only place in the game where I can use it, but I can use another ramp. Whoops! I can use another ramp glitch here to save a couple more seconds. RNG lasers, please. The Sky Garden dungeon is not that difficult, but these blue lasers in the light world, they shoot in a random directions, and sometimes it's just bad RNG you get hit. The red cybers in the dark world, they aim at you, so if you get hit by those, you usually messed up your routing a bit. Right now I just going through the motions. I'm using mostly the speedrun route through all of these dungeons, but at certain points I can and I will just yeah, use some randomizer specific possibilities, because in this dungeon usually you're not supposed to have slider and spin dash yet, and yeah, in the next dungeon you can see that this can be used to sequence break a bit, kinda like you're not supposed to have the Somaria staff when you're in a certain dungeon in Swamp Palace in Zelda: A Link to the Past, and you can just use it to do all kinds of nifty little things. So we arrived on Continent 2 while I was talking, and now we're going into the main town. Every continent has like one big main town with tons of hidden items, and this is Phrygia. We're gonna get 5 items here. Oh, Wind Melody, this is actually nice. Gonna check if my inventory is still okay. In my tracker you see I already have 4 herbs, which are my only healing option in this game. But in the inventory you only see one of them. In the vanilla game, each herb has its own spot in the inventory, so 4 herbs would cover up 4 spots. But in the randomizer, we have stackable herbs, so I don't have 1 herb, I have a stack of 4, and I can use them one by one. But yeah, it's just another little quality of life change. We found more HP, which is nice. Oops. Come on. We found more red jewels. I think I want to go to the jeweler. I think there was another item I wanted from the jeweler. Actually, it made herb stacking made some of the more difficult settings playable, because there are certain items, like you can only put down the hieroglyphs in the pyramid, for example, and there is 6 hieroglyphs and a jeweler's mansion. If you have don't have stackable herbs and you're just unlucky and get all these items before you go into before you get into the pyramid, you just soft lock yourself basically, or you're forced to toss them anyway and you can't use them. So some of the more complicated options in the randomizer are actually only possible because you have stackable herbs, otherwise you just have so much soft lock potential. So yeah. Inventory management has not gotten easier, it's just it's just not, you lost a lot of soft lock potential for yourself, and that's why we have so many fun settings like overworld shuffle now, or boss shuffle, which was just not possible because of these limitations. So right now we're in the diamond mine, which is another miner dungeon. The diamond mine is actually divided in two parts. I'm just doing the upper part of the dungeon. I cannot get into the lower part because I'm missing a key. But I just found a nice little item, which is the Lance's Letter. Lance's Letter will tell me where I can find Princess Kara, so I don't have to keep guessing. So let's just read it. And Kara is in Angkor Wat, and I'm going to give you a little indicator so we don't forget. Whoops. So usually the tracker does this automatically, but like I said, sadly this week new updates came out and I have to do it manually. I'm very sorry about that. Have not found the issues. I've informed our devs, but yeah. We couldn't figure it out for the marathon, sadly, but it's fine, it's fine. So, here we're going to use the spin dash to skip these ramps, and we're also going to use spin dash to kind of skip the riddle of this room. Usually you would need to destroy this barrier in the middle of the room, but I can just use spin dash, sequence break, and get to this item from this guy, which is the red jewel, which is not very helpful, but I'm still not finished. There are 2 more dark spaces hidden in the back, and I'm still looking for my Dark Freya, which is my freedom ability. So we'll go check this out. Like, as you can see, now that I have Slider, I don't have that much trouble killing enemies anymore. I'm still only killing those that I really have to kill because they spawn an orb or because they're just extremely in the way. Like this worm here is extremely in the way, so I'm gonna kill it. And here I'm going to trigger another orb. Whenever there's an orb on screen, you see me hopping into my menu for a split second. This is actually called a speedrun strat. It's called orb cancelling. What I'm doing is I'm updating the game state by by hopping into the menu, but the graphic lags behind. So you see me walking through doors or through blocked passages because the animation is still running, but the game already has updated and that wall is already gone, even though if it's still on screen. So yeah, Will is cool. Will doesn't look at explosions, and neither do we. Okay, that was it for now. But we have one more little thing we can do. We can go to our friend Neil. And our friend Neil has lost his memory, but we found the memory of melodies. Melody of memories. And we can give his memory a little, a little boost. But how do you play a melody when you don't have a flute? Easy. You just headbang. Because Will is so talented, he can headbang melodies. And now Neil remembered how to fly his plane, and we're going to use it to go into a little side location, which is the Babel Tower. There's 2 hidden items in here and another dark space, though that dark space is not important for me anymore. But I want these items, and then we are kinda stuck, because there's no easy way back, but there's a dark space. And this is another randomizer thing. This is basically our version of a save and quit. Whenever I'm in a dark space, I can talk to Gaia, save my game, and then return to my starting position, which in my case is Angel Village. And I'm gonna use that a lot of times to just basically soft reset or get or to use as a travel option. So we know Kara is in Angkor Wat, which means I just freed up all the side locations, the minor dungeons, because I was not going to go here unless I had the magic dust. But now that I know Kara is not here, I don't have to worry about that. I can just go in here and I can use my slider that I just found and get 5 items here, which will hopefully open up some more locations for me. So I talked about the 5 bosses. I talked about Princess Kara. Our other go mode condition is finding the aura, which we already have. We already know where Kara is, so let's talk about bosses. There are 6 bosses in the game, and I need to kill 4 of them. I can choose which boss I want to kill, because the game allows me to do the player choice. But since we're playing boss shuffle, it's still a gamble. So we're gonna see how many bosses are available, how quick. Most bosses are locked behind... Oh, this is a stat upgrade room. We're gonna grab that real quick. This is one of the rare occasions where you grab a stat upgrade directly from the room, because the room only has 2 enemies and you naturally just pass them, so it doesn't waste a lot of time to pick it up. So one boss is locked behind abilities, which is the boss in dungeon number 4, the Great Wall. Sadly, it was an HP upgrade, so I'm going to take some intentional hits here to make the death warp a bit quicker after that. And all the other bosses are locked behind items. But now you're wondering, wait a minute, there's actually 7 bosses. There's a hidden bonus dungeon with a secret bonus boss. Yes, there is. The secret bonus boss doubles for Mystic Statue number 6. In the randomizer, to get Mystic Statues number 6, you can either play the boss rush, which means killing all the bosses again, or you can do the bonus dungeon and... Oh no, I didn't pay attention. I think this... Nope, this is wrong. I'm doing Ishtar's riddles right now, and I was not paying attention. So, I have to do this room again. And it's the window that's missing. So, these riddles have been randomized as well, of course. So, usually they're not that difficult, but if you're talking and not paying attention, then sometimes you missed it. You missed the important part. Okay, we're getting 2 items. This is a strength upgrade. Hopefully the next one is not. It is not. It's a hieroglyph. Cool. So we're finding all kinds of boss items now. We are still very far away from most boss kills, except for the boss in dungeon number 4. But that's not a problem. We have tons of stuff we can do now. We found the diamond block, which basically opened up Inca ruins for us. We found the aura earlier, so we could go into the pyramids. Like I said, I want to delay the pyramid a bit until we have better stats, so we don't die all the time. We could technically go into the dungeon Mu, but Mu is super difficult in a normal setting, and it's super difficult in Fluteless mode. So that's the dungeon I want to delay the most. But since we have open world, we actually have the... yeah, we can go wherever we want. So I'm making the decision I want to go into Inca first. Just gonna drop my red jewels real quick to clear up space. And then we're off to Inca ruins. Sadly, my starting position always forces me to climb out the long way through the village, but yeah, that's just something I have to live with. Okay, so we are going back to Continent 1. We didn't do too much here when we were there, but now we can do one more side location. No, one more dungeon, I'm sorry. The side location is still locked, which is Ittery Village, where our friend Lily lives, but maybe we'll see her later. So Inca Ruins is the first major dungeon, meaning there's the first bosses located here. And earlier this year there was a big routing change in this dungeon, because while playing the randomizer I found a little thing you can do with ladders in here, because ladders in this game are not very well coded. And yeah, I found a little glitch, and that turned out to be pretty useful to skip a great portion of this dungeon. And That's why we will be doing a little ladder skip later, but first, the first couple of spots are still the same. I still have to get this chest. I still have to put down the diamond block to open up this door. And I still have to go to the spot where I would find the wind melody to the singing statue. I'm just gonna kill this guy to open up a shortcut for later. So, yeah, as you can see, I'm not really having any problems. Now that I have my abilities, I can just use slider whenever I have to kill something on the run, and these enemies don't hurt that much. I'm actually taking a couple of hits on purpose, because I want to death warp soon. If these enemies would cooperate, which they don't, which is sad, but oh well. We lost our flute. Sadly, we did not lose our telekinesis. So even though I don't have a flute to twirl around, I can still move these guys and solve the gold tile puzzle. Come on. Oops. There we go. So this dark space in the back, which you just saw. This is one of these dark spaces I talked about earlier. This is a dark space that will always have a transformation. So I don't have to check it, because my ability cannot be in there, because it's just, basically it prevents you from soft locking, because if you play this game in with casual strats or vanilla strats, you would have to transform into Freedom here. I don't, because I can do the ladder glitch. First we're gonna get this last item from the singing statue. And then we're gonna death warp. But yeah, the game always, the randomizer always gives you the ability to solve everything without glitches, without speedrun strats, without basically anything. You don't have to do any of these things to actually finish seeds. I do it obviously because it's a bit faster, but it's not necessary. So you can just load up a seed and jump in, and you don't have to know anything about the game. Maybe you would need to know where some of the hidden items are, but there's also guides for that. Okay. Yes, we are going to use the will ladder glitch, which is actually a bit faster than the shadow ladder glitch. We are going to manipulate this enemy to run into us while we climb on a ladder, and that glitches us into the ladder animation, and we can just climb through the floor and skip the whole middle section of this room. And this glitch is called the Z ladder glitch, and it actually shaved off about a minute of the speed run. So whenever you see the high level runners like Satox, Le Hulk, Solar Cell, Mr. Freed, or Psy 990. When you see them grind new PBs, that's because this glitch has just changed the early game so much that they are all kind of want that in their times now. Actually, massive time save. So, I've just opened up another shortcut, and right now we are almost finished with this dungeon. I cannot reach the boss yet, but I can still reach 2 more dark spaces. So this is the last item we're going to pick up. I'm going to jump attack through these worms again, because I can. And it's the magic dust. Perfect. So now we can free Princess Kara. We just can't reach her yet, because Angkor Wat needs me to have Dark Freya. Oh, and there's a first freedom ability. Did I just jinx myself? Is this Dark Freya? I'm having anti-commentator's curse today. Oh my god, it is Dark Freya. Oh my god, this is gonna be... This is so generous. Okay, this is super lucky. I'm lost for words. Yeah, this is a jet seed. definitely. I mean, boss shuffle can still kind of give us a bit of a headache, but as it stands right now, we are in prime position to speedrun this. Okay, took another death warp because I'm finished with this dungeon and I don't wanna do anything anymore. Now we're going to do what I skipped earlier because I found a travel item, but it's kind of been on the back of my mind. There's one more item I can get in the prison. And yeah, say hi to Hamlet, everybody. Because Hamlet, the little pig, will give us another item, and it's just a ritual. Ah. Okay, but that has been on the back of my mind. That would have bothered me all seed long if I hadn't picked that up. Okay, so another mushroom drop. Cool. I think it's time we faced our first boss. For that, we're going back into the Great Wall. We've already picked up all the items in there, but now we can just run straight for the boss. We are a lot stronger now than we've been before because we found some HP upgrades, so at least our HP is stronger. You've already also seen in my tracker that my strength is at 2 now. That won't help me against bosses though, because bosses in this game are hard-coded. Bosses always have 40 HP, and it depends on your combat form how much damage you deal to bosses. Will always deal 1 point of damage to bosses, meaning you have to hit a boss 40 times. Freedom, on the other hand, will deal 2 damage to bosses, so 20 hits. Or Shadow will deal 3 damage to bosses, which is 14 hits to kill a boss. So obviously we are going to use Shadow for all boss fights from now on. But sadly in this dungeon you have to jump over a ramp to get to the boss room. So this is one of 3 locations where you can only reach the boss as Will. And yeah, we have to take the 40 hits option. But this is boss shuffle, so I don't know which boss is in here. So we might not be able to kill this boss yet. Like if it's the vampires or something, I'm just not strong enough to do the vampires. With the flute, maybe, because with the flute I can like sneak in a couple of hits and then as they are passing. But in fluteless mode, it's just yeah. I need a very specific setup. I need to use spin dash most of the time. I need to kind of predict their movement and then start spinning at the right time. And I have a very low margin for errors. So if I find the vampires here, for example, I would just nope out of the dungeon and instead come back later when I'm a bit stronger, so I can just yeah, tank a couple more hits and then basically damage tank them. Yeah, this room has changed a lot in Fluteless because I can just slash these guys out of the way. I have to use Psycho Dash, which means I have to charge up every time, which slows it down a bit, but it's not that big of a deal. We can manage. Whoop, there we go. There's one more dark space in this dungeon, but I'm not gonna even bother checking. I have all the abilities I need now, so dark spaces are no longer interesting for me. This is the ramp, and let's see what boss we get. And oh, it's Mummy Queen 2.0. Okay. Okay. This is usually the boss that you would face at the end of the boss rush. So she deals a ton of damage. But we're gonna give it a try. Yeah, lucky because I get transformed into Shadow at the start of this fight, because in the boss rush you always get transformed into Shadow, but unlucky, I'm basically a two-shot. And this is my nemesis. I don't know, people who watch me do these runs, I do these all the time. And Mummy Queen is just my nemesis. She's, I die so often in this fight. And yeah, so I'm kind of scared, but I'll give it a try. So Mummy Queen fight is two phases. The first phase is this split, hit her once and then she splits. I'm trying to hit her as fast as possible so she doesn't do any of her other attacks. So I'm gonna basically to stun dog there. And once she has half HP, which just happened, we're entering phase 2. Now she can either give me a bad cycle, which is the split cycle again, or she can give me this roulette phase, where I can immediately hit her again. And that was 2 good cycles and a bad cycle. So I want the good cycles because I can just immediately hit her again. Whoops. That was my bad. Okay. Oh, that was actually pretty nice. Damageless even. Wow. You prefer with Friedan and Freya? Actually, I'm gonna use Shadow for all these boss fights because Friedan needs to hit her 20 times. Shadow only needs to hit her 14 times. So it's faster to use Shadow. But I guess for safety reasons, hitting her from a distance is also an option. But luckily, I got the free transformation into Shadow at this point. And now we're going to pick up a statue. You also already saw my stats have changed. I've gained a defense upgrade, which is pretty nice because defense also reduces the damage I take from bosses. And I'm now at 20 HP, which is actually kind of nice. So, yeah. That's pretty good. So we're going to use the spirit, which takes us back to the dungeon. And I think we're strong enough to free Princess Kara now. So that's what we're going to do. Which means we're going into our minor dungeon. Lance's letter already told us that Kara is an Angkor Wat. So now we have all the abilities we need to clear Angkor Wat. So we're just gonna do that. And as a nice side effect, I'm also gonna get 6 more items in here. I already picked up the 1 freebie at the ramp, but now we're gonna dive deep into the dungeon. This is a minor dungeon, but this is actually the longest dungeon in the entire game. It just doesn't have a boss at the end of it. It's also the only minor dungeon that has its own dungeon music. Usually only the major dungeons have it. And it's also a dungeon that has been changed a bit for Fluteless. These wall bugs usually sit 1 tile higher, but if they sit 1 tile higher, you cannot hit them with any of Will's abilities. You can only hit them with the flute. So our devs just moved them down 1 tile, and now we can hit them. And yeah, these wall bugs actually. Why do I still have Lance's letter in my inventory? I don't need that anymore. So yeah, these wall bugs are killable now with our slider, which actually makes them kind of trivial right now. So that's one dungeon that's a tiny bit easier in Fluteless mode than it is in regular. I like this dungeon quite a lot because it's basically on rails. Usually you know exactly how the enemies will move at a certain point, and if you move the same way it will always be the same, except for one tiny and it's a section of this game, which is the garden. The garden has flies, and the flies are super fast. They deal tons of damage, and they move completely random. And yeah, I hate these flies. They killed so many runs. Randomizer or speed runs for me. It's not even funny anymore. And yeah. Let's hope the flies are nice today. So far they are. They're also too fast to kill them, so you can't even just easily kill them off because it's hard to predict how they will be moving, and then you can't, yeah. You just can't hit him. It's just impossible. The Angkor Wat's team is the same motif as the Memory Melody. That is correct. Just the Memory Melody you only hear twice in the game and only for like a short amount of time. But this melody you get to enjoy a lot. Okay, there's only one more fly. Looks like I'm getting good RNG today. Yes, they all move away from me. And now we're going to use another speedrun strategy where usually the game would want me to use Earthquaker here to stun an enemy. What I'm going to do instead, I'm going to kill him off screen. I'm just going to kill this guy so he's out of the way, because otherwise he might screw this up. This is the enemy I need to kill. I can't get too close to him or he will start spinning and never stop and be forever invincible and I have to reset the room. So we're going to shoot our Dark Freya up. And we're gonna move in a certain way so that we just barely hit him, but don't trigger his animation. And there we go. That was Earthquaker skip. And now we're gonna use another, abuse another mechanic. This dungeon is so long that we have safe spots in the middle of the dungeon. So when we death warp, we will not be taken back to the start of the dungeon, but to the safe spots. I just activated one of these safe spots. And now I'm backtracking to get one last item. I'm doing this because I need to be Will for the next couple of rooms. So instead of having to find a dark space to transform, I'm just going to death warp, lose my transformation and be Will, and it's actually a lot faster to just death warp here than to run through the next available dark space. We also have another mechanic in here that we find only in this dungeon. We have the Bright Room. Their next room has some crystals floating around that shine out very bright light, and the strat would be to find the sun glasses or black glasses to block out the lights. Sadly, we did not find them yet, so we will have to do this room blind, and hopefully I won't mess this up too much. Sometimes on the, depending on what TV you use, if you're playing on original hardware, sometimes you can see like the outline of the rooms. But I'm playing on emulator, I don't see diddly. I just have to find my way in the blind. So that was the first section, finding another herb. I'm actually glad I find so many herbs because in boss shuffle they can be useful if I run into a boss that I'm not well prepared for, but most of the time I will try to save them for the very end of the game, because we have the randomizer only boss fight. Nice blind room, by the way. It's called Apocalypse Gaia. It's basically the boss fight cranked up to insane, with 3 additional phases, and I will, if I can, save all my herbs for that boss fight, because it's just that hard. I will explain it more when we get there, but if you think, why isn't he using herbs? Why is he playing so risky? That's the reason. I want to be as stingy with them as I can. Gonna use jump attacks to get through these enemies. That one hit me, but it doesn't matter. And we're gonna use a couple more jump attacks here. I could also use spin dash, but spin dash I need to charge up and it takes a bit of time, so instead we're just gonna jump attack, move to this guy, jump attack, there we go. And now we're already at the end of the dungeon. There's one more item from the spirit. There's also another hint that he gives me. Pyramid has hieroglyph. Okay, and there's Princess Kara. And there's the magic dust. And we can save her. Yay! Princess Kara saved. I just need to drag this manually real quick. So, we already have 2 of our go mode conditions fulfilled. We have Kara, we have the aura. But now we need to get some bosses done. We have 1 boss. But, yeah, we don't have access to any other bosses yet. I'm not going to play this dungeon backwards though, so I'm going to run through the dark space and then just save and quit, because it might be a bit more walking on the overworld, but this dungeon backwards is a pain and I don't feel it. So we're gonna save and quit, get back to Angel Village. There's a couple of places we could go. We could try to go to... Okay, do I get anything more from you? No, just secrets. We could go to Mount Cress. We could go... but we can't finish the dungeon yet. Same with the Continent Mu. We could go there, but we would be stuck at a certain point. Or we could go to the pyramid, which we have the ability to full clear by now, so I say that's where we go. Gonna use all our travel items again. To get back to Dao. And we're back at the pyramids. There we go. So we've just been here once briefly to check the item we get from Gaia. Now we're going deeper into the dungeon. We're going to use Shadow to sink through the floor. And that gives us access to 6 different rooms. For 2 of these rooms I will need to use Shadow to play them optimally. So, because I cannot keep my transformation after a death warp, I'm going to try to chain these rooms back to back, so we don't lose that transformation in between. And after that, I'm going to use Will for the rest of the rooms. But the pyramid is the last dungeon, so these enemies hurt a lot. I can basically, I think I can tank 5 hits by now, or I die on the 5th hit. I don't know. I should be able to survive 5 hits, but you can really easily get hit here. So yeah, it's not free at all. I'm going to use some iframe dashes. I'm going to hit the enemies, and while they're in their hurt animation, I'm running through the hitboxes. At this point I'm using a aura glitch. I attacked and then cancelled my attack animation with the aura. What that does is the game thinks I'm still attacking, even though I'm in the aura animation, which means I'm invincible while I'm in that animation. So basically I can deal damage to enemies without them being able to hit me. And in this points where I drop down, I can basically push the enemies out of my hitbox, so I don't immediately take damage once the aura animation is done. I'm gonna put these hieroglyphs in here. I don't know the correct order of the hieroglyphs yet. I would need Father's journal to tell me. But my inventory is getting kinda clogged, and I'm gonna pick up a lot of items here. So yeah. We're just freeing some inventory space. You see it in my tracker, there are 6 birds that are grayed out right now. If I have the Father's journal, these 6 birds will change into the actual order of the hieroglyphs. Okay, and now we're going to the most famous or infamous check in the game, which is the Killer 6. I'm not doing a very good start of the room, but maybe I can save it. Killer 6 is a run killer. It's an actual run killer for the speedrun. It's super late in the game. In the speedrun you would be at about 120, 1.5 hour in. And then you have this super difficult room. Where you have to do aura drops, have to do iframe dashes, and then this section. We have to stand on these tiles to make the middle section move. Oh, got the coin flip. That's a 50-50 if that orb hits you or not. But luckily it did not. And at the very end of the room there are 6 of these laser orbs just back to back. And this is actually the place where I'm gonna use a safety herb, because I don't want to die here. The elevator has been sped up, but it still takes a lot of time to get there. So we are going to use one safety herb here. Gonna equip a new one, and now I need to just slip into the right position and I can kill these. Nice. Didn't even have to use that herb. I still used it because it's really easy to get triple or double hit. That looked super smooth. I'm surprised myself. Basically what happens if you get hit once, you basically have to tank 3 or 4 hits back to back to back, and then the guys just kill you. That looked, yeah, I'm up. Thank you very much, Nubian dude. I'm surprised myself that it went that well. Yeah, so that's a run killer. It looked super smooth right now, but don't be fooled. It's you need the right entry frame. You need to get into the correct pixels so you can hit all of them at once. And yeah, if you get hit once, you're just basically lost, because then you will get return hits and you will not get out there alive, most likely. So this is the last shadow room. We've been here before for the hidden item. Now it's time to get the hieroglyph stone at the end of it, which of course has been randomized for us. Sadly, I'm not finding that many progress items. I'm finding mostly red jewels, which are not that great at this point in the game. I can use them to get into the bonus dungeon, but I said the bonus boss doubles for statue 6, and I already have statue 6, so that boss is sadly not useful for me anymore. The only thing I would get in there would be one more item. Oh my god, this pyramid is on fire. And now I've just found the crystal ring, and you see that Shadow is now using firebirds. This is another randomizer thing. You can, actually I should have used those to death warp, I'm an idiot. You can basically open up, now I need to find an enemy to death warp, there we go. You can basically unlock the firebirds early. The conditions are the crystal ring, freeing Princess Kara, and having the aura, obviously. So I have all these 3 conditions fulfilled. So from now on, whenever I'm Shadow, I'm able to use the firebirds, which makes boss fights a lot easier, I can tell you. The vampires fight is the most notorious boss fight in the game. But with early firebirds and Shadow, which we can have in the randomizer for the vampires boss fight, hopefully they will just melt away. And whoever gets frustrated by the vampires, either playing this game casually or as a speedrunner, play randomizer. Play randomizer. You can get so much of your frustration out by just annihilating these guys. Okay, yeah. While we're at it, we're having the first will room. Not that big of a deal. I'm gonna use spin dash whenever I have to move through an enemy. And at the end I'm gonna death warp. We're going to the longest and most difficult of the will rooms now. I have to be a bit careful here so I don't die, because there's a long kind of mini gauntlet in the middle of it, and I don't want to get too many hits. Like I saw here, I just got 2 hits and my HP is already half gone. So yeah, this is really not free. But we're doing fine right now, so there's no reason to believe we're gonna have any problems later. Keep that confidence up so the game doesn't notice how scared I am really. Okay, now in this section we're on a global timer. There are these spikes coming from the ceiling. So I need to time my spin dash correctly. And for that I'm gonna use item buffer to actually be a bit safer with the timer. You've seen me use it all game long, but now's a good time to explain it. Whenever I press my item button and I don't have anything equipped, I have a text box that says you are not equipped, and this text box I can use to buffer another input. And in this case, I'm using it to buffer an attack input, which means I can charge up my ability without going to the attack animation, which means I can charge up my ability while running, basically. Usually, I would stop running, do my attack animation, I have to start running again. There's no dedicated run button in this game. Whenever I start running, it's a double tap on my D-pad, so it really wears down your thumbs really fast if you constantly stop and have to start running again. But being able to charge up on the run is actually makes a couple of these global timers easier to get. So whenever you see that happening, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm usually buffering either an attack input, or what you can also do, you can buffer direction inputs, and you can move a set amount of pixels while you do that. And that's actually is going to be useful in another dungeon, which we can already visit, but right now let's focus on clearing the rest of the pyramid. There's only 2 more rooms left. This room is not as bad because... oh, now it's kind of bad because I took 2 extra hits. But it's still safe because I can just spin dash, kill these guys, and I have enough HP to damage boost once. Jump down here, open this passage, and there we go. And we found Lola's Melody, which is nice. That opens up another side location for me. And another red jewel, which is not as nice. My inventory is getting full. I need to go to Mount Crest soon to get rid of these mushroom drops, I think. But first, last room. Yes, you have the extra space to move, but you also have will, which means you have spin dash. So, if in doubt, I try to kind of sneak through these 6 orbs at the top of the ramp, but if you want to be super safe, you just charge up a spin dash and spin through them. Because during the spin dash animation, you are invincible. So, the problem with Killer 6 is not that it's 6 of these orbs, the problem is that you reach the room as Shadow, who can only iframe dash, which means you have 3 frames of getting into the right pixel, instead of Will, who has basically 5 seconds to kill these guys before they even move. And another herb, which is fine, fine. I'm not complaining about finding herbs. I will need them all for Upper Gaia, I'm sure. So, we're gonna set down another of these hieroglyphs. I still don't have the Father's Journal. Where to go next? We could dip into Mu, or we could dip into Cress. We can't finish either dungeon. And since Cress is just around the corner, let's go Cress. Cress is a very disliked dungeon in the speedrun and in the randomizer community. The problem is you have very little room to move. You only have these vines to move along. They are only 2 tiles wide, so you can't really dodge any enemies, but you have flying enemies, you have enemies that shoot projectiles, you have these spiders that spit at you or move in your way, and you have these fairies who summon fireballs and follow you throughout the rooms. So it's actually pretty tight on timing. But we have some stat upgrades already, we have all of our abilities, we should be fine. But yeah, after the pyramids, this is a place where I'm most likely to get a death. But with 20 HP, I hope I can do it. So, we're gonna open this shortcut real quick. This room is very tedious. The main room is not that difficult, but you have to go through all these side rooms because all the items are hidden in the side rooms. So, it feels a lot longer than it actually is. Oops, I did not want to get hit by that spider, but it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. We're gonna use some more Fluteless strats. We're gonna skip this enemy. You can also charge up Spin Dash at these points, but charging up Spin Dash takes time. And I don't want to waste time, so we're just gonna ignore them and run through. Now I'm charging up a Spin Dash because this is a long section of just going left, so I'm taking the speed boost. Just for a treasure chest for the prison key. Ooh, prison key is actually not that bad. That opens up more checks for us. Sadly, we didn't get any closer to any boss kill. We could play the boss rush now, but the boss rush takes a lot of time, so I'm not going straight for that because I'm trying to find another option first. Boss rush is our backup strat, but if we can help it, I will not do the boss rush. Actually, I don't have a timer on screen. Could you maybe tell me what time we're at? $1:10. Okay. Yeah, we're super on time. Yeah. So we still have enough time to find 3 other boss kills. Yeah, we should be fine. We've been speeding through the start of this, but Rando does rando things. The start was super fast, but now we're getting down kind of slow, but yeah, it can change. It can change in 2 items. We can already have more boss kills, so let's just see that we find these real quick. I'm using these mushroom drops to make the vines grow together, and that gives me access to more of the dungeon. And now we're in the room that has gotten the greatest change in the speedrun recently. This room has so many sprites that the game just can't handle it. And what can happen is that what could happen, which we knew before, that you can soft lock the game in here. But another player of the randomizer called HeroSoft has found out that you can trigger these soft locks on purpose, and if you do it the right way, you don't trigger a soft lock, you trigger a warp. The game code will just like say, oh my god, I can't handle this, get me out of here, and you will warp into a different location. And yeah, some crazy guys mapped out all the locations and all the pixels you have to stand in that correlate to these locations. And basically they found you can just warp into the credits if you want to, or you can warp straight to the final boss fight, or basically any location in the game you can warp to. And that's why we suddenly had the old any percent, which was suddenly any percent no wrong warp, and then we had 3 more categories, which were any percent, which is the credit warp, beat Dark Gaia percent, which is warping to the final boss fight, or kill all bosses, which only plays the game until Gress, and then just warps 3 times to to reach the into the other boss rooms, basically, that are still missing. So yeah, really crazy. If you want to see your favorite game destroyed, watch one of these categories. I think Satox just recently, like 2 months ago, got the world record in the credit warp category. So, oh my god, flasher, please. So yeah, if you wanna see that, that's the place to check out. Oh my god, this is great. I found a hope statue. So this is Moo. I hate Moo. I hate Moo in general, but in Fluteless I hate it even more. These enemies shoot a lot of projectiles at me, and usually that's not a big of a deal because I can block, but I don't have a flute, which means I can't block. Which, oh my god, that timing was not good. Which means, yeah, these flashers, these guys that just appear and shoot laser orbs at me, they will be the bane of my existence. Right now, most of the dungeon is underwater, so most of the enemies are locked away, but we are going to remove that water by using the hope statues. I just found one in here. Is this even randomized? French vanilla hope statue. And now the water is gone and there are more enemies, and that means there are more flashers, like this guy. And these flashers are a pain, because not only do they shoot a homing projectile at me, meaning it follows me if I change directions, they also just appear. And they can just spawn right in the middle of your hitbox, and you just take damage and you can't avoid it. And if that happens, yeah, that's a pain. But luckily, we found the second Hope statue, and we already have sliders, so it's not as much of a pain. I can actually use some shortcuts now. We're going to Death Warp to get back to the start, because there is a second Room of Hope, where I can put down another of these Hope statues and drain the last of the water. This cutscene has been sped up as well, of course. Usually there would be, they would spawn way slower and there would be long, slow text, but thanks Don't Begumi for speeding this up. This is actually super helpful. Freya upgrade, okay, a bit late for that, but we'll take it anyway. Gonna use the spin dash to get through these enemies real quick. And here's a secret passage. I have to use slider to get through here, but that allows me to basically go straight to the items. Wow. Flasher, please. Thankfully, I have enough HP to handle a hit or two, but these guys are just annoying. Whoop. Okay, one more shortcut. In the speedrun, you could trigger a invincibility glitch here by triggering a text box a certain way, but we don't have that text box because we don't have item fanfares when we open our chests. Ooh, Father's Journal, very nice. So yeah, we sadly have to do this the hard way. I cannot reach the boss yet. I would need a second Rama statue for that. But there's one more item I can get. It's just very deep into dungeon and I have to walk a long way to get there. So if there's any donations, incentives or something you want to read out, now would be a good time.
Let me look. No new donations yet, but in the meantime, I can pull it up. In the meantime, I can update you all on our bid wars and incentives. We still have bid wars for file names, character choices, and categories. File name for Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Ape Escape 3 characters, and Ace Combat 2 category. And then there's also Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask Final Boss Fight incentive. So if you want to influence any of those, get your donations in.
Majora's Mask Final Boss Fight sounds something I would definitely want to see. Okay, yeah, sadly we couldn't attack the boss, but we have a couple more options now. We're going back to Continent 1 once more. We found the melody, Lola's melody. Usually that's an item it's one of the first items you get, and you carry it with you all game long. In the randomizer, you don't have to carry it all game long. You only have to use it once here in Italy. And as you can see, there's nothing, but Will is gonna headbang a little melody for us. And there's our magic village. So, we're going to... Oh, another crystal ball. That's very nice. And somehow my tracker fixed itself because we're now at 3 crystal balls, which is the correct number, which is fine. Montcrest enters Mu Palace key, okay. That's okay. So we don't have to go back there because the Mu Palace key is redundant. Every travel item we have is kind of redundant because we can always use a different option to get there. Like we can get to Dao with the large roast or with the memory melody. So missing out on one travel item is usually not the end of the world. We are going to go back to the Moon Tribe to use our friends to teleport us back into the Sky Garden because we found the Dark Freya somewhere along the way, which means I have new things to do here right now. I can get 3 more items. I've only been in this room to check the dark space, but I haven't picked up any items yet. Because I needed Dark Freya to progress, and now that I have it, I can come back and get this item real quick. Sadly, I have to kill this statue again. This is not a big deal when you have the flute, but without the flute, it's actually kind of a pain. Because you have to hit it 3 times, which means, in the worst case, you have to load up Psycho Dash 3 times. But, yeah. You can't let the sword fly too far away from the statue or it resets. So it's a bit finicky, takes a bit longer than with the flute, but we made it happen. Used slider. And now we can venture deeper into the dungeon. And of course we're using Freedom because there is one enemy in the middle of this platform that we can't reach. But that's not a problem. Psycho Dash. As the Dark Freya with 2 upgrades makes this fireball split, and it's actually super powerful, so we just need 1 hit, which is fine. We're gonna kill this guy to make an orb spawn. Gonna damage tank these fire flames, get the item. Oh, it's just a red jewel. So now we're at the point where red jewels are actually redundant because I only need 45 and I already have 49, so that's already 4 dead drops we found. This is kind of annoying when it happens, but like I said, it's not like you can really change anything about it. It's just the most common item in the item pool. We have another 2 items in this room, which we're gonna pick up real quick. And in this section we're going to use the item buffering to move a certain amount of pixels. We're going to use that to just move barely past one of these sword statues, so we don't have to activate the sword, hit it 3 times and move it. Instead we're just gonna squeeze by it. There's 1 pixel where you can just barely make it, and we're going to use item buffering to move into that correct pixel. But first we need the Dark Freya again. And right now we are basically 2 items away from Go mode. Although we could get Go modes different ways, so there's multiple ways we could get it. So let's just see what the seed gives us, and then we still have to figure out how we can do this all with boss shuffle. We already found Mummy Queen 2.0. Oh, that's a hieroglyph. So now we have 3 possible ways to get in Go mode with 2 items, which is kind of fine. I like having the choices, but yeah, we still have boss shuffle to figure out. We still have 1 location that is a forced will location, which is the end of the boss rush. While I'm just moving past the statue with item buffering. Worked fine. Sadly only got an herb, but oh well. Gonna use the sword to death warp because the sword actually deals a bit more damage. And now we full cleared this dungeon as well, but we have another side location we haven't visited yet. We can go to the Sea Palace. The Sea Palace has 2 fetch quests usually. That's why I've been delaying it this much. That's a mushroom drop, but that's a death drop for us because it will only get us the key. I've been delaying it because I was hoping I would find these fetch quest items, but sadly I did not, so we're just gonna go in here for 3 quick items. Nope, red jewel, again. This is our last one actually, right? Yeah, 50 red jewels. Wow! We're gonna have 100% this seed? I don't hope so. So, we're going to get this item here. Oh, that's another fetch quest. We know what is in Chula's chest. It is the Gorgon flower, actually. We got a hint about that earlier. I didn't... it was one of our first hints, so I was talking about different stuffs, but I know what's inside there. But, yeah. Looks like we have to go there. Because the Gorgon flower is another fetch quest, so I don't know what's locked behind the Gorgon flower. Might be important. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to the bonus dungeon. And we won't kill the boss, because the boss kill in Fluteless mode is long and tedious. And also we don't need the statue 6 anymore. But we will get the dungeon, and this dungeon is super tough. These enemies hit like trucks. So even with my 20 HP and 1 defense, I need to be careful not to get hit that much. So I'm gonna use slider and spin dash whenever I can. I'm gonna also use jump attacks to avoid these lasers, because jump attacks, they don't deal damage, but they still give me some invincibility frames. And this dungeon is also lag city, because the overlay with the ghosts actually, yeah, just lags out the game like crazy, and that's, yeah, not good, obviously, if you don't want to... Oh, no. If you don't want to die. And that just happened. No problem, we'll try again. Whoa. That was not nice. It just squeezed me into the corner. So the reason I'm killing these beholders is not because I couldn't get past them, but because I just wanna reduce the number of sprites on screen to avoid getting super lagged. Okay, this is another fireball I have to dodge. Ooh, that was close. I was almost dead again. Okay, I'm not gonna take any more risks. Gonna do spin dash here to get past this guy. And there's our last treasure chest. And it's the Gorgon flower. And now we're gonna take the death warp. One nice side effect, when you enter Jula's mansion, if you leave it, you will always end up in Dao, which is actually pretty good right now, because from Dao I can get to Native's village real quick. And I can use the Gorgon flower to unpetrify these girls. And one of them is gonna give me... Oh, it's a boss item. It was useful. Who would have guessed? So we have another boss location just unlocked, but we also have another fetch quest item, which is the apple. So while we were talking about Hamlet and bacon, some people like healthy foods for breakfast. So we're gonna give Anne the apple, and she's gonna give us another item. And it's the Rama statue. Wow! Okay. Another boss item. Okay. How are we gonna do this? I think I wanna... No, I think I wanna go to move first. And then to Sky Garden. So, yeah. Time to backtrack a bit. Going back to Angel Village, we already cleared the site, we already cleared the dungeon, but the boss is still alive. That's gonna change. So we're gonna use all our shortcuts again. This is actually, it's a double dip, yes, but it's actually one of the double dips that's the least painful because I have all the shortcuts. So I can get back to the boss location real quick, so I'm not too bothered by that. And now we will hope that there is a transformation in this dark space and not an ability. There's still 2 freedom abilities I haven't found yet, but we are lucky. We get a transformation, and like I said, we're gonna use Shadow for all boss kills from now on, because I don't want to hit the bosses like a million times. I just want to hit them 14 times and be done with it. Also, even if it's like a super hard boss, I can use the aura as Shadow to get invincibility frames. So yeah. Oh, it's not frames. It's more like invincibility seconds. But before that, we are going to put down these Rama statues in the pedestal and then see where it takes us. It's Kerstov. Great! That's a super good boss, because that boss has an item locked behind him. It's the only boss that has an item locked behind him, so it's actually nice to find him. So I don't have to worry what's on the gold chip. This is usually a 3 cycle with Will, a 2 cycle with Freedom, but with Shadow it's a guaranteed 1 cycle. So he didn't even get to use his big attack once. Shadow is just that powerful. And we got more stat upgrades. We have 2 defense upgrades now, which I'm actually very happy to see. The strength upgrades I don't care about anymore, because strength does not influence our boss damage. It's nothing. Wow, nothing is on the gold chip. There are 2 empty chests in the game, and they have been randomized into the item pool as well, and that was one of them. So yeah, GG us, we found an empty chest. But we got a mystic statue, so I'm fine with that. And that means we can now get another boss kill out of the way. So we're finished in Mu. So the Inca gold chip would usually not take you to Mu, because it was boss shuffle. It would always take me back to the dungeon where I found the boss. So these travel options not always match up. And now it's time to... Have I ever been to Diamond Coast? I have not been to Diamond Coast. Oh, it's the elevator key. Do I want to check it? I think I do. There's a chance I can skip the boss rush instead and be a bit quicker, so we're gonna try and do that. So we've already been here. I said we couldn't progress any further, but now we can with the elevator key. And now I feel kind of silly, because I could have picked that up like an hour ago. But yeah, we had so much other stuff to do. So we drive the speedy elevator, and we get 2 more items up here. A death upgrade. Oh my god, I'm so happy I found this. Like, defense upgrades are my best friends right now, because the Apocalypse Gaia fight will be very hard, and I'm happy about every defense upgrade I can find. So 3 defense is pretty good, but I wouldn't say no to 4 or 5. It's an herb. Nice. I like herbs too. Sadly, now I have a bit of a long death warp, because with defense upgrades these guys don't deal that much damage to me, but definitely happy I came here. So let's kill another boss. We're going back to Nazca. We've already been here before, but now we have all 4 crystal balls. Now we can kill a boss. We have to do a little setup first, because I don't want to fight this boss as will. So we are going back to this room to transform. I would usually transform in room number 3, because the dark space is a bit easier to get there, but we had an ability in this dark space, and if you find an ability in a dark space, you cannot transform in there. So we have to take this one as a backup. But it's okay. We can deal with it. Oh my god. Sword, please. Ooh, almost reset on me. That's fine, it's fine. So we're going to transform into Shadow, of course. And we already learned that ladders are a bit wanky in this game. Like the Inca ladder glitch showed us that the game can't handle ladders that well. Shadow doesn't even have a ladder animation. So instead of a ladder climbing animation, all we get is like his jumping animation. And strange things can happen when Shadow climbs on ladders. Like sometimes you... see if I can trigger this. No, I can't trigger it. I can trigger it here. Sometimes you just keep on climbing even if the ladder is already... was already finished 2 tiles ago. And sometimes you can get stuck, which is not fun, but... luckily it didn't happen. So this is our next boss fight. And we are... in the Great Wall with Sandfinger. Okay. This is usually a boss you would have to fight as will. But... oh, we get X cycles to start. This phase is it's not that hard, but it can be tedious. There's 3 different phases. There's the left-right phase. There's the egg phase, which is great, because in the left-right phase I can only get 2 hits in. In the up-down phase that you saw now, I can also only get 2 hits in, but on the egg phase I can get up to 8 hits in, which happened. And since since Shadow only needs 14 hits, getting an egg phase with 8 hits at the very start was super good RNG. So that was pretty awesome. Okay, and now we can either check for more items, or we could just bite the bullets, do the boss rush. I think we're gonna do the boss rush. So we are going to go back to Babel Tower. We're gonna hop into the Jeweler's Mansion again real quick, so we can get faster to Dao. And in Dao, there's our friend Neil, and he will fly us to Babel Tower again. So, yeah. Now we have to do the boss rush. We kill all the bosses as shadows, so the boss fights don't take very long. But we still have a lot of transformation before each boss, after each boss, so it's still gonna take some time. So first boss we have to refight is Kastov, of course. And like before, Kastov is gonna be a guaranteed 1 cycle as Shadow. So the only problem is we're fighting the bosses in these dark space background locations, and Cast-Off has a lot of sprites, so we can actually get some lag here, but I'm just gonna ignore the lag. I'm just gonna power through and maybe tank a hit, but I just don't wanna. I just want this to be over, because if I start dodging these fireballs, it's only gonna he's only gonna spawn more and it's gonna be more lag, so I'm just tanking these hits and be done with it. The next boss fight is Viper. We have not seen Viper before, but he's pretty easy too, especially as Shadow, especially with early Firebirds. These are going to be super useful right now. He shoots some feathers at us, he flies down, and then there's the phase where he spits crystals at us. So we're gonna sneak in as many hits as we can while he flies around, and when he does his crystal phase, we're gonna aura glitch, and we're gonna deal frame perfect damage to him, and he just melts away. And that's something I'm gonna use on the next boss fight too. The next boss fight is the Vampires refight. Vampires are 2 bosses with 40 HP at once. And they move super fast, they shoot projectiles, and when I hit them, they do these little fire shields around them that damage me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the aura glitch, so I'm gonna make Shadow sink into the floor and reappear again. But while I'm doing this, I'm going to deal damage, so I'm basically a mine. I'm basically a, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna be stuck in one location, but whenever the enemy moves into my location, they're gonna take damage as fast as possible. So whenever their hurt animation is gone, they will take damage again. So what I'm trying to do is I'm going to manipulate them to stand on top of me, and they just take constant damage, like you saw right there. So these guys just melt. Took 2 hits here, not that big of a deal. But yeah, that was the Vampires refight with Aura Glitch and Firebirds. Good stuff, good times. That was actually pretty fast. The male vampire can sometimes troll because he can fly around all across the map, but he behaved, so I'm happy. And now it's time for the Sandfanger refight. The Sandfanger refight, basically the same as you've seen before. No new mechanics. We're hoping for an egg phase or 2 real quick. We didn't get it. We got an up-down phase, but we can use early Firebirds to sneak in a couple of extra hits. If I don't mess it up, that is. Sadly, I did. Oh, that's my egg phase. Nice. Oops, took an extra hit. There we go. I'm low on HP right now, depending on which boss I'm gonna face now. So the last boss would be Mummy Queen refight, but obviously boss shuffle, we already had the Mummy Queen refight, so we're gonna fight a new boss now. I don't know which boss it is, I just know it's not gonna be Mummy Queen, because Mummy Queen as well is impossible, especially that goes double for Fluteless. So depending on which boss I find here, I might have to tank. Oh no, it's Viper. It's Viper Vanilla, so we won't have to. We will have to fight this boss Fluteless, so I'm going to wait for his Crystal Breath phase and then use Spin Dash to get some hits in. And in the other phases, I could use Slider to hit him, but that would actually mess up my time for charging up Spin Dash, so we're just gonna dodge the feathers. Oops, or not, or tank the damage, and then, yeah. Wait until he does his crystal phase again and try to get in as many hits as possible. So it's a bit slower, but it's relatively safe. Okay, 6 more hits, so 1 more phase and he should be done. I could have snuck in a couple extra hits, but it's I'd rather do it safe now than kill this boss again. And that was our last boss kill. And that's Mystic Statue number 4. Let's look at the stats real quick. 32 and HP and 5 defense. We're in perfect position to kill Apocalypse Gaia. So this is what we're gonna do. We are going to a dark space. We are going to save one more time, just to be sure. And now we're going to face Dark Gaia. I've been in Go mode longer actually, but we're gonna take about 8 minutes to kill this boss. So yeah, I'm gonna give a warning for the time, but I say about 8 more minutes, depending on how the RNG goes in this fight. I also have to give a photosensitivity warning. There will be a lot of flashing on screen, especially in phases 3 and 4. I'm gonna give you a warning again, but if you're like having trouble with that, epilepsy or something, I will give you a warning and you should minimize the stream for that time. You can tell how the fight is going by my screams of terror and agony. But yeah, it's a SNES game from 1994, so people didn't think about stuff like that. They just wanted their game to be as visually impressive as possible, and flashing was the way to go, so yeah. Sadly. So the first two phases are the same. We have the Comet phase. I hit him when he opens his mouth, then I dodge the Acid Rain. I can dodge it manually or I can use the Aura. Both works, and remember that Acid Rain, we will be seeing it again in a later phase. Yeah, this is only 7 hits long, so hit him, rinse and repeat, and then we are going into the actual Dark Gaia phase. In this phase we have two new mechanics. We have laser orbs from the side that are homing projectiles, but I can block them. Nice, that was 5 hits. And then we have these bubbles that move semi-randomly towards us, and we can hit them and destroy them. Remember those. We will see the laser orbs again. And we will also see an amped up version of these bubbles again. And also we have the mouth that they had that gets vulnerable for a couple of seconds. And I try to sneak in as many hits as possible. And then he shoots a laser. But I have to dodge the laser by using the aura. That's also going to be coming back in the next phases. So we got 5 hits in the first 2 phases, which means we are going to definitely 3-cycle this, which is very nice. So next damage phase we will end this phase, and now is the flashing will start. So please, epilepsy people, photosensitivity people, please minimize the stream now, because it's gonna be wild. So this is the new phase. We have these bubbles, the bubbles back. They are more aggressive and faster, and now we have red orbs. Red orbs are like the mouth laser. I cannot block them. I have to dodge them by using the aura. We have these 2 heads. I need to kill them both, and they will shoot these red orbs at me. So I'm trying to 4-cycle the first head and 3-cycle the second head. These bubbles are kinda not an issue, because Shadow has a 180 degree that he does damage around him, even if it doesn't look like it from the animation, but he actually deals more damage. His hitbox by the hits is bigger than it looks. And now we are going into the bullet hell phase. We will have exploding red orbs, we will have acid rain, we will have laser orbs coming from the sides, and we will have a head that's going up and left and right on the top. And yeah, I will just try to survive. I have to use aura for the red orbs. I have to block the laser orbs, but the acid rain is random, so I'm just hoping that I don't get too many projectiles from standing. And that was a super nice phase. That was over super fast. So if you don't saw what happened, I'm going to use the safety up here. If you didn't see what happened, don't worry. This is just a clusterfuck of stuff that happens. Okay, phase 5, last phase. We have the big head in the middle. We have circling around him a red orb that will shoot a red projectile in a random direction. I cannot block it. I have to dodge it or use the aura. we have a yellow orb that shoots a homing a projectile at me that I will have to hit, block. And then we have the big head spawning shields. And I have to destroy all the shields before I can get one hit in on the big hit. And I need seven hits on the big head. So 7 times I have to destroy all his shields. But he will spawn more shields with each hit I land. And everything will go faster. I don't know if you can hear it. Even the boss music is going to go faster. So these heads will move faster. The orbs will spawn, will be shot at me more frequently. And on top of it, the head also has kind of an AI. When he has many shields, he will move towards me aggressively, and the shields will try to ram into me to kill me. But when he's low on shields, the shields will stick close to the main head, and the head will move away from me. That's why I'm standing at the bottom of the screen. I'm trying to lure him down so I can swoop up and get some hits in. Otherwise, he will just run away from me forever. So I'm standing in this corner for safety because I'm I'm less likely to get hit by a red orb down here, but I'm also trying to lure the boss in a position where I can get more hits in. And this is the phase where we also have some unavoidable hits, so here I'm just spam eating my herbs to be super safe all the time. And time will be on the last hit. We need 2 more hits, so this is going really well. And hopefully I did not jinx myself yet. So we're gonna kill these heads. And by now these laser orbs are constant, basically constant. So next hit is time. So get ready for that. One more time. Gonna use one more herb just to be safe. I don't want to die on the last hit now, because it's easy to get like a double, triple hit here, and he still deals 6 HP damage to me. So yeah, obviously I don't want that to happen. Okay, 2 more hits on the shield. And oh, come on. Time. There we go. Trolled me a bit in the end. And yeah, that was Apocalypse Gaia. That was Illusion of Gaia Randomizer, Fluteless mode. I hope you had some fun. I know I did. If you want to roll your own seeds, you can go to iogr.app. That's iogr.app. You will also find the link to our community Discord there. And it's a super fun game. It's a super fun randomizer. We're still developing things. The Fluteless mode is actually something that has just been invented or like put to use for 4 months now. So we're still not finished. We're still reaching for the max with this game. Super nice community. We have tutorials, we have video guides, we have picture guides. So everybody who wants to give this a spin, feel free to join. Yeah. Shoutouts to Don't Bagumi, our developer, who put a lot of efforts to make this a really fun little game. Shoutouts to Apocalypse Me, because he was the one who did this. Who's also responsible for the emo tracker, and he's also the one who put a lot of work into the Apocalypse Gaia fight. Yeah, that was it from me. Thank you everybody for watching, and
Cool. Thank you for the run. Coming up next, we have Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games by Waz00. So that should be fun. It is also the end of my hosting shift, so thank you SpeedCon for having me on. Very last minute, but yeah.
alright everybody, see ya.